Are you ready for your window shoppers to become paying customers? Ecwid Ecommerce is here to make that happen. We can help you automatically show the exact product visitors saw but didn't purchase on your site wherever they go on Facebook and Instagram using this magic called dynamic Facebook retargeting. To show these ads to your prospects today, sign up in your Ecwid control panel in the marketing section and look for the Facebook remarketing app. This is fully integrated into Ecwid and Facebook and so simple and effective you'll wonder why you hadn't done this sooner. To help you decide, if you sign up now and spend $50 by February 15th, you'll receive a free $100 advertising credit from our friends at Facebook. Okay, back to the show.
This is the Ecwid E-Commerce Show with your host, Jesse Ness, along with Richard O'Tay.
Hey, Richie. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. How's it going?
It's going well. It's going well. We're back.
The sun is out again.
Yeah. The sun is shining. Today, I think it's going to be very interesting. So, for the people listen to all the podcasts, you'll notice that our post roll is we're asking for reviews and ratings for our podcast. So I think that's going to relate to today's show. And so, Rich, we ask for these reviews. Like, why do we ask for reviews?
Well, I mean, you always want to get feedback. We're sitting here, we're doing something that we think is valuable, but we always love to hear from the listeners because if you don't have a listener, you don't really have a show, right? We're showing up, but we want to hear this, and reviews are valuable. We always hear about word of mouth, and word of mouth's been talked about for years, but a review is kind of like word of mouth that lives on. Right, yeah. Graffiti might not be the best word for it, but it's something that actually you've heard a review, someone gave some sort of feedback, and someone can actually see that again some other time. So we appreciate it, we love it, and please, just because we're talking about it, feel free to.
Yeah, that's a little plug for a review on the Ecwid e-commerce show. But I think the point you made there about like word of mouth, a review is like word of mouth that lives on, because if you tell a friend like, "Hey, check out this restaurant," that's great, but that doesn't live on. They maybe remember, maybe they don't. But a review online lives on forever for other people to see and see that those business is worth checking out, and also it's good for Google to see too. So, Google's out there; they need to see stuff too. So with that, we're talking reviews. Let's bring in our guest, Scott Stewart, the founder of Helpful Crowd. Scott, how are you?
Hey, guys. How you doing? Happy Friday.
Oh, yeah. We love Fridays.
Great to have you on, Scott.
Yeah. Thanks for having us on, guys.
Oh, absolutely. So, Scott, why don't you – so you're the founder of Helpful Crowd. Why you probably didn't just, start your career founding Helpful Crowd. How did you get there?
No, you're right, Jesse. So effectively, my wife used to have 3 online businesses, all on Ecwid. Oh. We love Ecwid for that reason.
Awesome.
So after about 12 months operating these businesses, we thought we should actually look at reviews. And so we installed the only app at the time that was on the Ecwid marketplace, a little blue dot one. And we thought, this is great. We got a review one day, tried to reply to it, and we couldn't. Okay. And we kind of like thought, that's strange. We've got to pay for the upgrade plan. We've got to pay for it. Okay, so we reached out and said, hey, guys, how much is it going to cost us to reply to this review? And they said something like $500 a month. And we said, you got to be kidding me. Get out of here. And so that was the birth of Helpful Crowd. We thought, well, we can, kind of do this. We can do it better. And we can provide a really good, affordable value for, all the Ecwid customers.
That's awesome. I love it when entrepreneurs build a business that basically just answers a problem that they had, and that was your problem. You needed reviews.
Right. Absolutely.
Awesome. So did you have a background in software development, or how did you go from a problem and making Helpful Crowd?
Look, my background's actually finance, guys, so don't hold that against me.
All right.
It was just one of those things I was really passionate about. I still am, from the point of view of obviously running online businesses, to the point of view of obviously helping businesses. So, for me, software development, we have a team of developers who do most of the back end stuff, and we mainly focus on the front end stuff and talking to the different stores.
All right, so you get to do the fun stuff. The right. Coding is done by other people.
By the backup, right? Usually the midnight vampires, right? They work all funny hours.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Sugar and Red Bull.
Awesome. So So you know firsthand, your wife knows firsthand, why are reviews so important for e-commerce stores?
Right. So really, I mean, one of the things that we didn't learn so early is it took us like a year to think about reviews. Mm-hmm. And in hindsight, we kind of recognize that from day one, you've really got to be collecting reviews, because if you're just starting up a business, it will take time to build momentum. But those reviews can help you build that business so much quicker. Mm-hmm. Primarily, it just builds you trust with shoppers on your store, gives really invaluable feedback to other people. And the most important thing we think really is that feedback should be unsolicited. So one of the biggest concerns we know that a lot of store owners have is obviously negative reviews. But the way that you deal with that from shopper's perspective is really important. And hence that commenting feature on reviews is quite important. So the amount of feedback we had and the way that we're able to improve our business from that feedback, so effectively digesting it and then continually improving what we needed to fix or change or, to actually create more sales. That were the kind of biggest benefits for us.
Oh, absolutely. And I think when you look at a product page, so for the newbies out there, the product page is on when you're scrolling through websites and you go click into the actual product. There's usually a description there and a price, but as a store owner, you can only use so many adjectives. But if you have all these nice reviews down there where your customers are saying how much they love it, your previous customers are helping do the selling for you. So I think that's kind of a nice benefit.
Do you have any stats, Scott? Now, this is going to be a wide question. Do you have any stats that show increase in conversion with reviews? Now, I know it's going to be relative to, was it a good review, what kind of product and all that stuff, but do you have any kind of stats? Because I'm sure, I would guess it would be better as long as it's good reviews, but I don't really know any stats.
Right. That's a really interesting question, actually, because really it's been proven that if you have just all 5-star reviews, right, a lot of the shoppers think that it's pretty sus and, they're all fake. And fake reviews is obviously an issue in the review industry. So 4.3 stars has actually been proven to be the highest point of conversion for creating more sales. And it differs obviously across all the different types of stores and everything like that. But generically speaking, you should be able to see, you would hope to see like a 1.5 to 2 times improvement on conversions of sales when you're using reviews. And definitely if you've kind of got authentic reviews, which really reach out to the shoppers, the longer the content, the more detailed the reviews, obviously, the more helpful it is for the shoppers. That's what you usually see in terms of review conversions. If you then bolt on questions and answers as well, which really is just like an automated customer service bot for your store, right? Because a lot of customers and shoppers have the same types of questions. So if you bolt on question and answers features as well, generally what you'll see is also an 11% increase in the value of your basket from just having reviews and questions and answers together on your site.
Okay.
Wow. So you're actually seeing not only an increase in conversion, but an increase in average order value as well.
Right. Absolutely. And that's really important, right?
Oh, of course. And that's, everyone knows that the first sale is the hardest to get, and everyone's hoping to get more sales, but the real win is if you can get that average order to go up on the first sale, you're probably going to get more sales too.
Right. And it's a snowball effect, right? You start getting a few reviews, you get more, traffic. Those shoppers then see the reviews, they get more trust, credibility with you, comfortable, especially depending on how you reply to those reviews and comment on them. And then, that kind of helps them make that purchase decision and pushes them over the line to obviously check out.
Yeah. I think the interesting thing is, you mentioned like when a store starts out, and I think that's probably the easiest way to determine, as a shopper, forget about being a merchant and being working at Ecwid, but as a shopper, if I go to an online store and it's a little light, there's products that I want, but I see 0 reviews on the site, it kind of tells me this is a brand new store, or maybe it's a store that doesn't get any sales. So I think it's a quick signal to me that this store just got started. But if I see a store that has a whole bunch of reviews, okay, I might think maybe some of these are fake, but boy, they put a whole lot of time into doing fake reviews if that's the case. But it just makes
a lot of clicking in India.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm sure there's ways to do fake reviews, but somebody probably put way more time into it. Like it just might be. I usually assume it's just easier to get real reviews than to spend all this time writing fake reviews. Like there's a lot of ways to check on that. So
right. And it's a kind of an active process that the merchants really need to get involved in or should be involved in if they want to obviously improve the trust and credibility of their presence on the net and with their shoppers. But it's worthwhile. It pays itself back so many times over. And it's not that hard. With Helpful Crowd, for example, we have an automated review system. An order comes in, email automatically goes out. But even if you have other people, if you said, just getting started, it can be difficult. But you can ask some of your friends to kind of, look at your store, give you feedback, buy some of your products, and then generally ask them, honestly, what do you think of the product? And it will help your business many times over, not just from a sales perspective, but, maybe you shouldn't be stocking that product. Maybe you need to improve it. So just from an overall perspective.
Yeah. No, it makes perfect sense. You do need to stock with your store with reviews, and that's part of the process. And I think that a lot of times people are getting started out, and everybody, you want to get to that first sale, you want to get traffic, you want to get advertising going, of course. But as you grow, part of the process here is building these reviews on each of your product pages. And I think one of the important things there too is also for SEO value. So with Helpful Crowd, is Google able to read the reviews on the product pages?
Yeah, they can. So with every plan in Helpful Crowd, we have rich snippets. Google calls them many different things many different times.
Sure.
We still call them rich snippets. So effectively what this does, it enables Google to easily read the information about, the total number of reviews you've got for that product, what the average rating is, and then also we provide the detailed reviews as well. At the end of the day, and I think this is a really important point for a lot of merchants to understand, is Google, at the end of the day, decide what they show and what they don't show, depending on what they think the searcher is really looking for. We have no control over that, and no review app has any control over that, which is one of the reasons why we have it in our plans as standard. It's not a paid feature, because we can't guarantee any results for that. But what we do is we make sure that we give Google and all the other search engines the best chance of being able to find that product and display those little rating stars on the search page when someone's looking for it.
Got it. Yeah, so what that means is that, yes, you're putting these reviews or helping people get these reviews on their site, on their product page. Not only that, you're giving it in the format that Google needs. And just I'll give it the short answer for people that don't know about rich snippets. Like, Google can see all these things, but if you don't give it to them in the right format, they don't know that it's a review, and then they can't display these stars on the search engine results page. So that's great to know that you have that. And I think so we've done several podcasts where we talk about SEO and writing content, and nobody likes writing content. But this is kind of a free and automated way to build content on that page, because there's a very good chance that your product, that people are going to use the words naturally that you want them to use. Like if you're selling a carabiner keychain, there's a good chance they use the word keychain in their review, and you're basically getting free content writing from your customers. So
yeah, I mean your customers are your best marketeers really, and they're free. They don't cost you anything. And Google and all search engines love new content all the time. As you said, those keywords, Jesse, obviously are very important to obviously optimize your site for those search keywords. And it's effectively a free source of free content writing.
Well, I'd imagine too, not only do they use the words that matter and the keywords you want, but they probably also sometimes at least write a review that describes your product in a way that would seem a little strange for you to. Like, oh, it was great. When I opened the package, it was packed perfect and my kid loved it, and da-da-da. You're not going to write that, but it can put you in a light that that kind of raises your status and or I don't know the exact vernacular that Google would use, but kind of you can use the word a bunch of times and you could use the keywords, but there's phrasings and there's things that I'm sure the AI is like, oh, they're talking about this product in use, or they're talking about the love of this product or how it was packaged. And again, you probably won't be writing that stuff down.
Yeah, and I think also people they're going to misspell, and they're going to use synonyms that you wouldn't think of, because as a merchant, you're not going to misspell your product name. Like that would be dumb. You don't look like an expert. But if one of your customers does, well, that's what they wrote. That's
actually a good point. I never really thought of that.
Yeah. And the resonance as well, obviously, with the shoppers being in use, and if they have that, that's very strong as well.
Absolutely, and you get the emotion there as well. Like I think, if you have a boring product, nobody's going to give you a nice. There's not going to be an emotional, I love this, but I've seen it personally that there are people, if they're emotional about the product, they will say that, and that's something that the store owner can't really say themselves. It just comes across wrong or cheesy.
Yeah.
So you were mentioning something earlier that you were talking about stacking on the Q&A or the FAQs with it. We haven't actually attached this to one of our test stores and used it ourselves. Like, is there a way that you do that, or how does that work?
Yeah, it comes standard with Helpful Crowd. So we have reviews and Q&A as a standard as feature set. If you don't want to have Q&A, you can turn that off. Some stores have a separate chat bot or different ways to address customers' questions, so that's fine. And it effectively is sitting there on your product page as a tab beside the product reviews. And if a customer has a question, they can simply ask a question. That goes directly to the merchant. And the merchant at the end of the day is I would say, probably the most knowledgeable person to be able to answer the question about the product. So they then reply to that question. Email goes back to the question person who asked the question, I should say, to tell them that it's been answered, and the answer is displayed on their website. So it's quite common for a lot of shoppers to have the same types of questions. So the more that you can encourage questions being asked by shoppers, and it just helps other shoppers, and again, helps them over that potential purchase hurdle. If they don't have enough information, or they want to have some more information, or they don't, they may be conservative about asking that information. They can see it on the product page.
Yeah, I love that. And so that the questions are not generated by the merchant. They're not like fake questions here. They're customers that, and this is more in a pre-sale process. So they're looking at the product page, they have a question, and then you can easily ask the question on the product page that then populates this section?
Yep, absolutely. And then the answer replies also an email to the person, the shopper who asked the question, as well as onto the product page, so everybody can see. And you can also search that as well. Very similar to what you've seen on other sites. You can search that if you're looking for a particular term or question, and it will effectively shortlist and show those positive results. So
do you pre-program some of those answers, and if it's in there, it notify, or how does it notify the merchant that question? Yeah, that's a good question. So the merchant receives an email to say, hey, look, you've got a new question from a shopper, and it also appears in the app dashboard. So there's unanswered questions there in the moderation panel. Got it. Okay. No, it's interesting. I mean, particularly if you if anyone out there is monitoring live chat, you get the same question over and over, and you're probably like, oh my gosh, again with this question? Boy, wouldn't it be nice to have that Q&A feature so you could, even point to that, or maybe that question never comes because people see this little Q&A tab and look at that. So I love it. Actually, Q&A seems like an obvious thing here. Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, you should check it out. It's definitely one of the key things for us when we're looking for a review app back in the days. Yeah. I hadn't thought of that, but it makes perfect sense to be part of a review app. So, and also what I was thinking about when you mentioned, like, okay, there's these reviews and there's also a Q&A section. And to me, I'm picturing this big company in the e-commerce world that seems to have mastered things, and
Amazon is known for their reviews, and they're known for their Q&A section. So basically, you're taking a little bit of the Amazon playbook and giving it to smaller merchants out there that can now have access to the power of Amazon.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what do you do when we talked about the 4.3 stars, and I love that you're talking about that transparency, because it does seem strange sometimes when you see all 5 stars, right? Everyone knows that someone's going to have a problem. So that was a very interesting stat. You were saying 4.3. What do you do though when you get negative reviews? What's the best way to handle that?
I think negative reviews definitely has to be the merchant's biggest fear, right? Because, once it's out there, it's out there. But it also presents the greatest opportunity for, the business owner to demonstrate to all other shoppers and everybody else visiting their site how they run their business and how they deal with, we call them critical reviews as opposed to negative, but how they deal with critical reviews. And so the most important thing is obviously not to get personal, to stay calm, obviously look at it and say, actually, I probably need to find out some more information about this. And so with Helpful Crowd, you've got a one-click email assistant. You can click on the email address on the review, and it will create open an email for you, pre-populated, with all the information about the review. And then you can ask that reviewer and say, hey, listen, we received this review. We obviously are very serious about our business. We take all feedback seriously. We would like to hear more about this, and we'd like to see how we can fix it. And the best way is to really try to resolve the issue offline and then provide a comment to the review and highlight, that you'd obviously taken that forward. You resolve the issue and, obviously look forward to the customer coming back and shopping with you again.
Got it. So in this case, let's say it's a 1-star review. They say, I never received my product, blah, blah. Watch out for this company. You get a chance. Do you get a chance to respond to that before that review goes live? How does that work?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. So we've got a toggle switch. So we've got an auto publish feature, which means that every review will automatically get published to the storefront. And that's really good. You don't have a lot of time. You want to, effectively do things what you might consider more important, then you can just let all the reviews publish to the website and comment on them later. We also have a toggle switch where you can moderate all the reviews and review them before you publish to the website. So it really depends on how you want to run your review system. You have both options. Okay. And also sometimes with 1-star reviews or even, 4-star, 3-star reviews, there may be reviews which are not considered to be appropriate, right? Whether it be language, whether it be talking about a competitor's product, whether it just be off topic about the product altogether. And so we also have an inappropriate flag, which can be used in the moderation panel, which more or less removes that review from the public domain.
Got it. Okay. And is that kind of, Google also, they have some review, like rules around review companies and such. Is that, follow the Google standards for that?
We have our own standards, yep. And I think it's fair to say they're pretty straightforward, common sense. But generally, it's about racism. Obviously, it's about language. It's about appropriateness, mentioning competitor products, etc. So, I think at the end of the day, what we like to do is, I suppose, give the shopper and the customer their voice and also the merchant their voice. And that's why we also, believe that the commenting feature on reviews is very important. Because if it was just one way with just a customer leaving a review and not that ability, then it's not really giving a full context. And it also gives that merchant or the business owner a really good opportunity to show how they run their business, what their morals and values are. Yeah,
I like that. I have used other review apps in the past, and that sometimes that's not available. So you can either have there's this maybe a critical review, it's 2-3 stars, and you do take the opportunity to fix the situation with the customer. But if you can't leave like an addendum to that or can't comment on that review, like it just looks like a bad review and you didn't take care of it. So, that's a negative. But sometimes a bad review that you then leave a note said, yeah, hey, thanks for pointing this out, Mr. Customer. Happy to ship you another package, and thank you for your feedback. Right? That might actually look good to other people rather than being just a negative review.
Absolutely. And we have another kind of interesting feature in Helpful Crowd, which we really love. It's called thank you emails. So we consider a positive review being effectively a 4 and 5 star rating review, and a critical review being 1 to 3. So you can set this up so that if you receive a review which is a 1 to 3, then the customer will automatically get an email and say, hey, we're really sorry you didn't have a great experience. We really want to fix this up. We want you to give us another try. Here's a coupon. Come back and give us another chance, and we'll be in touch with you to talk to you further about this issue. Again, that's all automated if you set it up, and it effectively provides you that opportunity to create and continue the conversation with the customer after they've sent the review, both for positive and critical reviews, which we think obviously is really important for building loyalty and trust.
Yeah, I love that. And then do you have the similar thing for people that left the 4 and 5 star review?
Yeah, absolutely. We have 2 separate email templates, one that goes out for 4 and 5, one that goes out for 1 and 3. And what we usually encourage merchants and business owners to do is effectively, probably for the critical ones, we always recommend whatever you give to, if you're going to give a coupon or an incentive, whatever you give to the positive reviewers, you should give more to the critical reviews, because actually they're worth their weight in gold, much more in some ways in terms of getting feedback and understanding what you can do to improve.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have hard stats on this, but I, in my experience, have actually sometimes felt better having something happen with the business that potentially, went wrong, or they didn't go up to what I thought the standards, and then they fixed it. I actually have more belief in them than if nothing bad had ever happened in the first place. Doesn't mean I want that to happen every time, but if they fix it, if something happens and they fix it, I actually, in some strange way, tend to have more belief in that business than if everything was just perfect every time.
Right. And if you're like most people as well, I think you'll go and talk to other people about it as well, right? We all love to whinge a little bit. I had a really bad experience with this store, but hey, you should have seen how they helped me and fixed it up. Mm-hmm. And that, again, just increases your reputation, brand, and reach.
Yeah, makes perfect sense. I don't think that means you should send out mistakes on purpose to fix them later. But don't take that tip. The tip is to fix mistakes when they happen. But that's great. So how does it work? So I sign up as a merchant and say click some boxes for I want to get reviews. Do the reviews get sent out when the product is ordered, or when the tracking number shows it's received? Like how does that work?
Yeah, so Helpful Crowd and Ecwid, we're fully integrated, very easy install process, one click button. We install the display widgets on your site and everything like that. And then effectively you have a couple of options. You can import reviews from other review platforms if you have them, or from other sources. And you can also go back up to 6 months, and you can import, if you're an established business, you can import all your previous online orders for up to 6 months. And then those review requests will go out straight away. So effectively what you're doing is you're seeding your reviews on day one with previous purchasers and customers, which is a great thing to obviously build momentum and get up and running. And then after that, you can set up the email templates, the first one that goes out. We have 2 in total. So the first email template can be set up to send out based on 3 or 4 different triggers. One is when the order is placed. One is when it's paid. The third one is when it's shipped, and the last one being delivered. So you can then set up the number of days after you want that trigger to send the email. So what we used to do is we used to send, an email review request 5 days after delivery, which gives the customer a little bit of time to be able to try the product. They don't feel like they're being rushed to provide a review, and then they can provide a more informed review and feedback and insight for you on that. This is all automated. If the customer doesn't reply to the first review, then you can also set up a second email to send X number of days after the first email is sent. So you might set up that to 7 to 10 days after the first email. So this really increases your opportunity to collect reviews. And unlike a lot of other review apps, Helpful Crowd actually allows the customer to write multiple reviews for a single order. So if you've got one order and there's 10 products on there, the customer can write a review for all of those 10 products if they feel inclined to do so.
Awesome. And I think what I saw there as so pro tip for people listening, if you don't have reviews right now, you could install Helpful Crowd, and then because you can take the last 6 months of orders and send out those emails, you can immediately seed your store with a bunch of reviews, hopefully positive. Awesome. So now you mentioned other review apps. So how does Helpful Crowd stand out from others?
Yeah, that's a good question. I suppose we do things a little bit differently. So obviously coming from the world of being a store owner, we like to think that we understand what some of those challenges are, and we've touched on some of those things already. But we provide premium features as standard, as I mentioned. So we feel that it's really important. Store owners shouldn't have to pay a lot more money to access those premium features that they really need on day one to grow their business. So that's our mentality. We want to give the store owners the best opportunity to grow their business from day one with access to all the premium features, from branding their templates, customizing their templates, setting up all those different trigger dates, to social sharing, so you can share your reviews on Twitter and Facebook. We've got 6 different widgets. You've got carousels, sidebars, all different ways to kind of show and display your reviews anywhere on your site, wherever the customer is. And this is just a short list of features. We also differ. We collect our reviews very differently to a lot of the other review apps out there. We kind of follow very much closely to what the biggest and the best leaders in the industry, the likes of Amazon, TripAdvisor, do. And we have a hybrid approach. So we ask the customer a really simple question when they open the email, which is, how many stars will you give this product? And they click on that, and then we automatically redirect them to another page which actually enables them to fill in their content. So we call this the FRX experience, or the frictionless review experience. And because of that process, effectively we're reducing the friction. Rather than asking the customer 5 or 6 different things as soon as they open their email, we're just asking them to make a very binary decision, which is to click on the number of stars. And we've actually seen significant increases in review collection rates. It's nothing unusual for our stores to have 20 to 30% reviews collected. They're kind of, I suppose, conversion rate for the orders sent out.
That's great. Sometimes you're happy to get that many people to open an email. So
right.
That's
right.
Great.
Yeah, and I think for the pro users out there, and just everybody actually, there's some really interesting things about review collection rates that maybe a lot of people don't know. And because a lot goes into it, right? There's quite a lot of science around it. So the first thing is you've kind of got to get the email into the user's inbox, right? And I'm not sure if there's a lot of people aware, but up to 85% of all emails sent every single day on the planet are actually spam. So that challenge of getting the email into the customer's inbox is a real challenge when you've got Gmail, spam engines out there, spam bots, all the other spam bots, trying to protect the customer's inbox from spam. So we really, we rate ourselves in terms of inbox delivery for getting those review requests to the customer's inbox straight away. And then really it's up to the merchant, the business, to make sure they then kind of position themselves and set themselves up for success for getting those reviews replied to. And that starts with, whether the customers even received the product. So getting that timing right is really critical. Nothing worse for a customer if they get this request asking them for a review and they haven't even received the product yet. So it's also about the subject line, making a really compelling subject line, but obviously making sure it's not spammy, making sure that it stays on point. And then obviously time of day. The best time to send out emails to any customers has been proven over many studies to be around 10 o'clock on a Tuesday, if possible. But 10 o'clock is a really good time, usually after people have gotten to the office, had a coffee, settled down before they get into their work, and they check out their inbox. So timing is also very important for increasing those review collection rates.
Got it. So you have there's the number of days after it's been delivered, and then will your software say, well, we could deliver it on Sunday, but why don't we just hold this over till Monday or till Tuesday at the ideal time? Is that the idea there?
Yeah, so that's a feature that's coming. It's in the pipeline, but we have the timing today. So effectively, if you're in a certain time zone, then you can say, I want this review to be sent out at 10 o'clock.
Got it. Yeah, makes sense.
And it'll be 10 o'clock in whatever the customer's time zone is, or 10 o'clock?
Yeah, no, right. So in the app again, we have a time zone for the app, and the customer the merchant can change that to align with their time zone. But usually we get that straight from Ecwid anyway.
Okay.
Got it. Okay. So, I mean, this sounds great so far. Now, I mean, how many hundreds of dollars here are we going to pay here? Like, how do you price this?
We priced it very competitively, and we thought very affordable. So entry level is what we call the Scoopful plan. It starts at $3.99 a month. So we have a 30-day trial. You get to use all of the features. You can get up close and personal with it, see how it's working out with you. And after the 30 days, then we have paid plans starting at $3.99. And it's based on orders. So it's based on the number of online orders that you get in a month. And we also have what we call in-plan and out-of-plan. So in a nutshell, provides maximum flexibility. If you have a store that usually has, say, 60 orders a month, then you might want to have a look at the handful plan. That includes 75 orders. And then if you need any more orders, say if it's around Christmas or it's a really peak busy time, then we'll automatically apply a bundle of 50 orders to your Helpful Crowd account so you can continue to collect reviews and obviously continue to create that trust and credibility with your shoppers.
Got it. So kind of like a rollover plan for your phone bill, basically. So it's kind of like a phone plan, right? Where you have X amount minutes or something for a month, and then if you have more minutes, then you can access those minutes. The difference to a phone plan, though, is that our out of bundle orders are actually cheaper than the base one, whereas usually phone plans kind of the phone companies are not out there to be friendly and help you out there all that much. That's awesome. I mean, so it's really not that much money here. I mean, if you're at the 100 order a month, that's when you're starting to it's starting to become a real successful business, and spending $10 a month on all these features we talked about, the Q&A, the reviews, really not that much at all.
Right. I mean, we kind of equate it to coffees, right? So the Scoopful plan is like one great cup of coffee a month, right, which is nothing. And then if you're up to the 100 orders, then you may be talking about 2 or 3 cups of coffee a month, which, for what it does and for content, SEO, reputation, it's really the cheapest marketing tool you could probably have.
Makes sense to me. So are there any customer stories, like something that our listeners could look at?
Yeah, definitely. So there's an Ecwid store called Soundwave Art. And interestingly, the CEO there, a guy called Mike Latour, he actually wrote an Ecwid blog article probably about a year ago. Okay. And he outlined, so that's on the Ecwid blog. We'll provide
a link there for listeners on the blog. Yep.
Yeah, and he provided some background in terms of his experience of trying to find review apps, and then obviously when he found us, and also why he uses the review app. So I think that's really relevant. And the biggest takeaway for Mike really was that the review collection rate with Helpful Crowd was significantly higher than any other review app he'd used before, including some of the tier 1 guys out there. So that kind of really gave us a lot of confidence that we're onto a really good feature there with the way we do that. And interestingly, Soundwave Art as a store is a really nice store. Check it out. Effectively, they create custom art on many different types of materials, and they're also involved with a guy called Kevin Harrington, who was actually one of the original sharks from Shark Tank. Just a small bit of information, and I think he was the guy that actually started As Seen on TV.
Oh, yeah. Yep, I remember.
I think he was even in on the original Ginsu knife, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, wow.
Dating myself there. But.
So we're using a review to help sell a review app. I love it.
That's great.
Yeah, this is a good story I'm talking about right now.
Yeah. So, Scott, now, if people listening there, how can they find out more about you, or how can they sign up for your app?
Yeah, we're listed on the Ecwid app marketplace, so they can search for us there. They can also go to helpfulcrowd.com. That's our marketing site, and they can read up more there. But there's a fair bit of information on the Ecwid app market page already.
Awesome. Rich, any last questions here?
No, this was great. I'll give you a positive review. This was a great interview. It's very helpful. I mean, anything we can do to help the merchants, especially when you can get your customers to help the merchant too, it's a win-win-win. Love it. Thanks for your time.
Yeah. Awesome, Scott. Really appreciate you being on the show today. And for everybody listening, get out there and make it happen.
Thanks for that, guys. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you. Well, Rich, there's another great show.
And when you add it all together with the other shows, you won't miss any strategies or new tactics on how to grow your online business.
So to make sure you don't miss anything, subscribe on your favorite podcast player. Rich, what player do you like?
Probably Stitcher.
All right.
How about you?
I'm an Apple podcast guy. I'm an Apple guy on that.
Yeah.
And we're growing right now. A listener asked us to add Google Play as a platform. So we just added that a couple weeks ago. We have Spotify, SoundCloud.
Nice. We're everywhere.
So subscribe on your favorite platform and don't forget to rate and review us.
So we know what you think.
Yeah, rate how we're doing, review on what we have done, tell us topics you'd like us to cover, tell us if you think we're great and you are going to take over the world.
Subscribe, rate, and review.
It's the only way we'll know, and it keeps the shows coming. Thanks, everybody.